Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Lori McKeough-Smith, and I am here with some of the amazing contributors of Edify Your Soul magazine. I am so excited to introduce our 5th issue. I can't believe it has happened this quickly. This issue is on relationships, all sorts of relationships, romantic, soulmates, family, friends, you name it. And I have gathered some amazing experts from all over the world. And I happen to have a few of them with me today, right now. And then some others are going to join me in a little bit. So right now, I would love to welcome Jennifer Rose, Colin Walker, and Nico the Medium. Welcome, guys.
Hi, thank you.
So,
Hi, Lori.
issue 5. I can't believe it's here already. So, Colin and Jennifer have been with me from the beginning. Nico, you're the newbie. So, we're talking about relationships, and you have to dig into the magazine to see tons of interviews and tons of articles. But I thought we could just chat a little bit here and take questions. If anyone has questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. Oh, Veronica's here. I think Veronica's going to join us in a little bit.
Yeah.
Colby
Hi,
Rebel
Veronica.
will join us in a
Hey,
little bit.
Veronica.
So this magazine is all about getting through life with all of the challenges that we face. And I think you would all agree, relationships are one of the biggest challenges. And let's go to the romantic relationships. I mean, we could spend a lifetime trying to figure that out, and probably the next 10 lifetimes. Just when I think I've had it figured out, something crazy happens, right? And it is crazy out there trying to navigate it. We have some people that we hear have been married for 60 years and they're soulmates, and others, they're married and can't stand each other. Some of us are out there dating, we get ghosted, we get all sorts of things. But it all comes down to how we deal with it, right? Because we don't have any control over what other people do to us. So, Jennifer, I'm going to start with you.
Hi, Lori. How you doing?
Hello.
You've been working hard, darling.
Yes, it's been awesome, though. I'm loving reading everybody's different thoughts on everything. But let's see. Share with everyone what's your best advice to get through this and navigate relationships or even just life. What do you think?
Oh gosh, that's $1 million question, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're our biggest challenge, but probably our biggest teacher as well. We are in this, human reality. We know we're spiritual beings. We know we're spirit, but we're in this human reality, and we learn through our interactions with others. Of course, there's the time of stillness and inward experience as well, the hero's journey that we're all on. But hero's journeys always come with lots of interactions, lots of meetings, and it turns out to be a team effort at the end. If you think Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, she still needed the Tin Man, she still needed the lion, and so forth, and Glinda, and so forth. And so they're also our best teachers, and they're also adventures as well. So it's our human lens, our human perspective that we want to put through. So my best offering would be to, the more you come to understand who you are as spirit, but also your whole integrated spiritual human self, there's quite a balance that comes in. Then you will be able to navigate life itself, which includes relationships, in a way that is more mindful, more balanced, more in harmony with the flow of life itself and love and spirit. And that is a process that happens over time. It's not an overnight journey. We go through our spiritual awakenings and take in all of this beautiful infinite light and wisdom and love, but then we bring it here and we embody it, and then live this human journey with more purpose and more meaning. And it takes some courage and bravery, a lot of love and an open heart, but we can
Absolutely.
all do it. I do believe grace is one of our best friends when it comes to living a whole, mindful, present life, is with grace itself.
I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Nico and I were not arguing, but I would say disagreeing a little bit in the interview. I kept saying, he kept giving like, a spiritual kind of view on things. And I kept saying, but we're living here in the middle of it. How are we supposed to deal with here in the now? But you did mention that breakups, makeups, whatever, are really part of a bigger lesson.
100%.
And I have to say, I think it's comforting to think of things that way. So would you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Thank you, Lori. I have to go back to focusing once more that we are spirit. No arguments here. But with that said, you have two options. You can either view everything, like Jennifer was saying, through the lens of the physical form. And it's always about the ego at that point. Why did I get hurt? Why did they say that? I gave them everything, I received nothing in return. It's a perception of the human nature. But if you view it from the lens of your essence, your higher self, your being, you recognize that there are no coincidences. Every relationship, may it be of love, family, friends, even rivals and allies, they're all intentional. Those are all those soul agreements. So when you view it from the lens of your essence, it's not why did it happen to me. It's what did I learn from this? What did they learn from this? These are all lessons. It's all growth. And if we don't focus on that and we keep viewing it from our ego, and it's a fragile ego, then I'm hurt now because you broke my heart. If we view it that way, we are limiting our alignment. We remain human. We remain scarred. We remain seeking that elusive love and doubting ourselves and our self-worth and how do I look, my appearance, and that stunts your growth because you're not aligned. So if you're not in alignment with your true purpose, how are you going to love yourself, and how are you going to be prepared for that true love to enter? It's all perspective, like Jennifer said. So it does have a lot to do with remembering your essence. And it's not that you're being hurt or scarred or you can't find the right person. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just viewing it differently, and you're still in this bottle. You're in the container, looking outside the world. And if you just appreciate that, you have more confidence. When you go out, you're not thinking, you're not questioning, is he or she going to hurt me? Am I going to say the right thing, or are they going to ghost me, or whatever the case is? You're just going out there saying, I love myself. I honor myself. I forgive myself. I know I'm imperfect because I'm human. So I'm going to go out there and give my love fully because I love myself. And I'm not going to worry about how I'm going to get affected or hurt or played or whatever the case is. And that's the switch in perception that we focus on.
I think that's a great point, because the older we get, the more experiences we've had. And so many people show up with those wounds.
Yeah.
They show up to a relationship with, it's like, hi, I've been hurt. I've been cheated on. I've been so many different things. And it just screams, I guess, the wounds we have instead of the love that we have to give.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, when you're younger, you're a lot more confident, right? You're working out, you look good, you conquered the world. In a sense, when you're younger, you're so naive, you really believe you're in essence. You don't see any limitations with yourself. When we get older, our body changes, our experience change us. We're not as confident. That's when we're supposed to remember we're in essence.
Right.
And that's when we view it differently. So view it the way you did when you were a teenager.
Yeah.
Don't let anything else affect you. Have confidence. Love yourself.
We didn't know any better back then.
Exactly. Why do we know better now?
Sometimes I think I still don't know any better.
Right. We think we do, but we don't.
Right? Colin, do you know any better?
I don't know anything. Listening to this, so I'm like, wow. Hello, everybody. By the way, and everybody who's joined us, thank you. It's beautiful to be here. Thank
Welcome,
you, Laurie, so
Colin.
much. Beautiful edition, this magazine. This one, I love it. And the
It
design
is.
and,
It's pretty amazing. So
um,
let's talk. We were starting a little bit of a different conversation before, family relationships,
yeah,
and really how that shapes us. I tend to believe that if we have a good foundation, if we have good relationships with the people that bring us up, whether they be blood related to us or not, I think that does give us the confidence to get through some of the ups and downs later on in life. What do you think, Colin?
most definitely. Yeah, I mean, speaking of relationships as a whole, as far as the expanse of our awareness can get to that, what can see the whole or understand it. I think what we're doing is I've got to word this correctly. I think because this subject is so vast, and we kind of look and perceive different facets of it, rather than be all of those facets. And I think that is the best place to be in any given moment, relationships or otherwise, or extended aspects. So in so much where if we're present in the moment with the thought what we've got, then there's a phenomenal presence of acceptance within us about ourselves. Because obviously the first relationship we should be having is here.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we're brought up, conditioned, parents, peers, etc., schooling, education, whatever we want, all these external aspects have all got their bearing within our field of awareness, i.e. our mind, our consciousness. So when something goes wrong, naturally what we're going to do, we've been brought up to rely on the external for virtually everything. Up to now, at this point of evolution, we know it's changing. Where evolution, that line and flow of evolution, this is where we're at the moment. So we can see the transition now where we've blamed the external, or often the external when something goes wrong. Within us, our natural instinct is to blame the external, i.e. blame another person normally.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of you that I am hurting and I'm suffering.
Right.
Now we're at that point and it's like, oh, no. One, nobody's got the monopoly on pain. We all know pain. And we all know many vibrations of pain. So that's across the board for all of us. And we need to get used to that one for a start. If we feel offended, it's because we've allowed ourselves to be offended, because we've given our energy to somebody else in a relationship. And whether we think they may have betrayed us or not is irrelevant. We're responsible for that. We've gone, here, you can have this amount of my emotions. Now we're recognizing, oh, hang on, I've got to be responsible. This here, everything starts here. So when we draw back into that center point of our own awareness, in that expanse, then we can say, okay, the most beautiful thing is acceptance. Because if I'm in acceptance of all of this, whatever relationship I'm going to come across, that acceptance is going to be with that other person as well. It's going to permeate from our space, and we accept that person. Most relationships, I think, enter difficult periods of time because there's a non-acceptance. Because we want something, that person not doing what I think or what I would like them to do, etc. We're not accepting that person for who they really are in an authentic manner. So when we're authentic, our relationships then is changed completely.
Well, you make it sound pretty easy, but I suppose if we start off with acceptance and the relationship doesn't work out, it feels like it would be a lot smoother of a breakup. You know, we wouldn't have to be mad and blow up and hurt each other.
It's
We
true.
would just accept them for who they are and that they might not be the match for us anymore.
Well, man's greatest failing at the moment is accepting everybody for who they are without any violence. You take violence out of the game and acceptance to the fore, we will live in a beautiful space.
Right.
Really, what we're looking at is the simplicity of creation itself and tuning into the simplicity. We really do overcomplicate things because we try to define everything we come across, and we don't need to. We just need to abide in the knowing. When we sense a frequency of that particular topic, we can sense it. That's why we're sentient beings. So it's like, okay, I'm sensing this. What reaction? What's it doing to me? What's it mean? And we just immediately, intuitively step into the knowing of the frequency. And when we do that with everybody else, the magic happens.
That makes sense. So I'll ask you all the same question. We accept the people, we love ourselves, all of that is great. We get hurt. Someone cheats on us, someone ghosts us. And as Nico said in the interview, then we're sitting home with Ben and Jerry watching them, Netflix for a few days, right?
Binging Netflix.
Binging. So how do we get through it? How do we get through that period?
I'm gonna
Nico
go
first. Nico,
yeah.
what's your favorite flavor, Nico?
Just because I have to go in a few minutes, guys. So I appreciate going first. Chunky Monkey, without a doubt.
Perfect.
You said Roy, before you said that it didn't work out or it didn't pan out the relationship as we expected, or whatever. That's where I think the misinterpretation is. We set standards. We have expectations. We love with limits. I'll love you if you could do this for me, or if you love me in return. And I think this is where, again, is that perception that it has to fall into a certain lane for us. And that's where I think we're setting ourselves up for the breakup, for the disappointments. If we just meet people to meet them, soul to soul recognition, just to meet them and have a good time, and just trust that whatever's going to transpire is meant to. If it's going to last or not, it's all part of the journey. Then we don't have these expectations. And then basically every relationship works because it's not about how I want it to work. It's how it's supposed to work. So I think that kind of softens the blow. And it's not like, we're not going to keep thinking about the person that broke our heart a year ago, and we had 2 rebounds in the meantime. And we're sitting there, eating our ice cream, watching TV, and thinking about the one way back because we really love that person because they just made us smile a certain way. And these last 2 didn't measure up. See what happened? Those 2, in the meantime, we're trying to measure them, compare them to the other one that broke our heart. What are we doing this for? I think we're just setting ourselves up to fall, to be hurt, and then to complain about it. But even those 2 that came afterwards, those are also soul agreements, soul connections, something to learn. And did we learn from them, or are we still hung up on the other one prior? You see what I'm saying? It's all perceptions. Just let it go. Just don't put so much pressure on ourselves. That's my belief.
That.
Come on, Nico, tell us, which one was it? Who did it? Which one was it? Tell us.
Oh, God, they're still doing it, Colin. Thank you very much, guys. I have to run
you,
to
Nico.
Thank you. It's been fun. And thank you. It's been an honor being in this episode. Thank you very much.
Lovely to see you, Nico.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
I'll speak for Nico. If you share the magazine on your page or a group and tag Nico, he will choose one lucky person to receive a free reading. We'll put that in the comments later. What's that?
So just don't pick Nico too many occasions.
All right. So, Colin, easier said than done, right? Easier said than done.
No, it's not. Do you know what this is? This is about frequencies. Is we tend to tap into this frequency and exist in that sphere of that particular frequency, or with several vibrations, and we're locked into place with it until we recognize and sense all those vibrations and frequencies, and we use them and utilize them to project us to a higher state of our own awareness. It moves us to, when we can use love as an example. There's many frequencies of love, but ultimately there's only one pure love, for me, my understanding. So most people struggle, myself included previously, so it includes all of us, I believe, struggle at a certain point because we're trying to use the frequencies what we're at in any moment to project us to the next stage of our own evolution, internally and globally. So when we're talking about relationships, this repetitive cycle will keep going until we've caught the frequency and utilized it and gone, right, that's literally jettisoned me, the pressure, the hurt, the pain, whatever it is, jettisoned to a pure frequency of love. And that love is more expansive and for all people. So we've got it. No, we haven't got to do anything, but we're moving towards that rather than individual love to that collective sense of, to the vibrations of pure love, which is collective in its purity. So it's simple, but I know it's not complicated.
Jennifer, easier said than done. It's a challenge, right? It's a challenge.
Well, it depends where we are, and there is, how am I going to put this? Colin is right. We have a lot of cycles and things that have to be worked out, and this sometimes is on the soul's timetable of moving through those patterns and layers and being able to then accept and let go, see what we've learned, and that way we're integrating that knowledge and able to move into a different frequency or a different pattern that would be like more favorable, more successful, with more ease of flow. It's just we have to do all of these steps to get there. What I would offer, because I agree with all of that, what I would offer in addition is just that we do have this little one inside of us, and that needs love too. So hurt is hurt, and there is something beautiful about holding space for that and allowing that energy to kind of move through your system and give it love. And that does help to then get us to that higher place, to get us into a different pattern, into a different experience for ourselves, or we will keep repeating it. But as you know, we've all talked, it's the self-awareness. So it's taking the time to look within. It's taking the time to not be scared of what we're going to find, step into the unknown, and give all of the different sort of frequencies of our multidimensional self love and acceptance, and that's how we come into that more integrated, higher, elevated state of awareness where we can see. So I've had experiences where I am in just that state of pure connection, of love for everything. And you see that it's all okay. You see that it's like, it all has a purpose. And every day I'm reminded of the synchronicity of that. And it could be as simple as just like what I'm thinking about, and then the song that plays, and it's so perfectly harmonized and matched. I just know that I'm living out a divine plan that has an order to it too. And then there's sometimes where I just feel oh so human, and I have the human experience, and I share that with the people that I love, and that's beautiful too, and that's spiritual too. I just say our hearts are so beautiful and wise, and then they're so innocent and fragile at the same time. And then when we hold both of those together, that's lovely too. Like that's beautiful too. But, I think that we sometimes just have to allow ourselves space and time. Time, space heals a lot. Time, space, and love. Time, space, and love heals so much. Hi, Colby.
Hi guys. Just give me a minute, if you don't mind. Just give me 1 minute. I want to make sure my audience can hear this amazing conversation we are about to have.
Sure.
Beautiful.
We're doing it.
We'll keep talking. All right.
Perfect.
Okay.
So I agree with all of you. I also know that it's such a challenge. And I think it is one of the biggest challenges we'll face, the acceptance. We always, not always, but so many people I find with my clients, and I've done it myself, where it doesn't work out and you think of all the reasons why that person wasn't right, or all of the reasons why that person needed to do a whole list of things to be, healthier. And I think personally, for me, one of the things that's helped me the most in relationships, all sorts of relationships, is acceptance. Accepting that people are different. People act differently. They've been brought up differently. And it doesn't mean it's wrong, but different.
Yeah. Allows us to not take things so personally. Yeah. Because otherwise we're taking it personally as an attack on us. And then we go into a defense mechanism. So the acceptance, it doesn't mean you're not honoring the pain and the heartbreak of it all. It just means you accept that it's happening and allow it to take its course without
that pain is real, right? The pain is real of a heartbreak. I'm sure we could all remember.
Yeah. It's very dark night of the soul.
Broken at one time or another.
The human condition, we all live together.
Right? Yeah. How about you, Colby?
Okay, I'm ready.
Are you ready?
So much. Yeah, sorry guys.
Okay.
Hi Colin. Hi Jennifer. Hi Lori. Thank you guys.
Hi Colby.
Welcome. Hi. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited. And yeah, relationships, right? They're challenging, I feel like, and it's part of this growth that we're in. I think on the other side, we're all together. We remember we're one, and then somehow there's that disconnect once we come into the physical realm, and it becomes challenging to process anything, anything from euphoric love to betrayal to disappointment. It's hard navigating, those experiences, and where do we place them, and how do we, I believe it was Jennifer saying, but how do we kind of process those emotions without making it quite so personal?
Right. I think that's the hardest part. Colby, do you believe that everything is sort of preset before we come here? That we're supposed to have these experiences, we're supposed to learn from them, even the heartbreak?
I do believe not everything is preset, right? Because that's why we have free will, right? Otherwise, there wouldn't even be kind of this free will that we talk about. But I absolutely do feel that when we come into the physical realm, right, there's these set of lessons that we come in. Maybe it's about growth, learning, forgiveness, healing, breaking karmic ties. So there is some lessons, but not everything, right? I kind of feel like it's when you have a little kid and you're saying, look, you can play in the playground, but I don't want you to go outside of the fence, right? So the kid can run around that playground as much as they want, as long as you're not going outside of that boundary. And I feel like it's the same for us. You have these set of things you need to do or learn. And I also, for whatever reason, I also believe our passing has a meaning as well, or at least I can hope it does, right? Because sometimes there's just passings that we cannot rationalize. And I think it would be great to be able to say, hey, we may not know this particular reason, but it's there. And I think that would be helpful when we transition to go, listen, when this happened, this is why, this happened, that's why. I think it could create a lot of healing, but I don't think we're necessarily supposed to know in the living.
Yeah, and that's so annoying sometimes. I want to know. I need to know person.
I want all the answers. Yes, I want all the answers right now.
Colin, what were you going to add?
Well, I totally agree. I think we're looking at stages. We're trying to dissect everything in order to make sense.
Yeah.
Because we're in this sphere of mental or emotional, respectfully, ignorance, sense of ignorance. And that's what the boundary, what Colby says, you can, there's the parameter, but you can't go outside. And I think what we're doing is removing that barrier now. We're saying that no longer exists because the answers lie the other side of it. And I think that's where we're at the moment. The lessons and the learning, I've got to throw this one in because I think that thinking we've got to learn everything, and this is a fine frequency, but so I'm cautious with it. But thinking that we've got to learn everything and everything is about learning, I'm cautious about, because when we're thinking of learning, our sense of knowing is suppressed. It's not to the fore. And what I try to do is allow the knowing to come forward, because in knowing, there's no learning. And we've all experienced this knowing energy. So in our relationships, if we was to trace back the beginning of a relationship, really, it doesn't matter how the relationship went, good, bad, or indifferent. When we go back, we placed ourselves, and I agree with Colby, karmically in front of that other soul, and we struck up that relationship. That's our responsibility. So anything from that moment on that journey, our joy and laughter and love, and also our hurt and pain and any experiences of that nature, what takes place, is our responsibility because we walked into it in the first place. Mm-hmm. So okay, I need to hold my hands up here and go, if I'm hurted, you've done it to me. You've done it to yourself, and that's just respecting the simplicity of the light of truth within our soul, what's trying to tell us all the time anyway.
Right.
So this is a beautiful conversation.
Colby, what you said kind of makes me feel like no matter what, it all comes back to us and boundaries, right? You were talking about being kept inside the fence. So it's not so much, why did this person do this? I guess we could bring it back to, why did we accept it? Or maybe next time we'll make it clear that it's not okay for the person to act a certain way, lie, cheat, be abusive, any of those things.
Right. I think it's just a matter of, I feel, Lori, like it's a matter of, we can't control what other people are going to do, right? We can control how we react to it. And, right, if someone is abusive or out of control, then they're outside the fence, right? They're acting outside the fence. And so, and I think too, as empaths, the hardest part is light workers, empaths. I feel like our empathy and our compassion and our level of understanding, we try to justify the actions of others or how we're treated somehow, rather than just kind of standing in our power, sitting in our power to say, hey, wait a second, this isn't acceptable behavior. And sometimes, again, there's so many things. Do you feel lovable? Because if you're not feeling lovable, you may think this is the only experience you're worthy of or the only one you're going to get. So it's too scary to walk away from it. Right. Even work, so many times people are so afraid to leave their job that they're unhappy in. That's a relationship as well. This is all I'm going to get, or I won't get more money, or this is the only opportunity coming my way, or I'm too afraid to completely change paths, or I won't make enough money. It's, so again, I think our thought processes, our belief systems, that sort of thing. So going into your innate knowing, like Colin was saying, I feel like it's definitely going to be a great guidance. Your all knowing self already knows the answers. So once we are in that power and trust where that navigates and takes you, I feel like you're going to be on the right path.
I love that. So Colby, I know you do a lot of educating. You teach and you teach people what psychics and mediums are and what they're not. And, this magazine is filled with a lot of mediums, but it's not about mediumship necessarily, which I think makes it pretty unique. There are so many misconceptions out there about psychics. They think we can, take out our crystal ball and tell them the lottery numbers. How many times have we heard that? I would love for you to maybe explain to people what it would look like to see a psychic if you're going through some relationship issue. If someone came to you, what do you think we all have to offer?
Yeah, I feel like, what's great is a lot of us, even psychics, they work differently, right? So someone, may have their own method or style. For me personally, one of the things I advocate and teach is that we don't make decisions for people. Otherwise they're taking shortcuts out of being responsible for their own choices and their own path. So it's about providing some insight though, right? When we are using our senses and we're in that vibration, I feel like it's easier to kind of get a sense objectively about what the higher self is speaking to us, right? What that conversation looks like. And we're just sharing that conversation. And a lot of times too, I validate that with the sitter by connecting to their ego as well. Where is the ego? How is the ego feeling? What fears does the ego have? What aspirations? But then that conversation with the higher self. And so a lot of times as well, because in life, there's not just one choice, right? You do have choices. So a lot of times when I'm tuning in, I'll say, well, it looks like this path looks like this. It feels like if you do this other path, it looks like this. So kind of those books, remember when you get to choose an ending? What ending do you want to choose, right? And I was one of those that I go down one and go back and read, and go down the other and go back and read. And so, I think it's important to be able to provide that insight. But, psychics do not have all of the answers. They don't. But if they're working for the highest good and the highest good of all, they can absolutely, I feel, have a very pure energy that could absolutely help someone make a decision on their own, give them that guidance or clarity to help them on their path.
And I think one of the most important things is we do that without judgment.
Yeah. Right. So that's being in that vibration,
judgment.
right? When you're in that vibration. I mean, that's important too. We see a lot of people, both mediums and psychics, that are working in a way that judgment does come through, right? Or their own decision making, what they think the person should do, comes forward. And again, that's something that we, to me, you're not working in that vibration. You're not working in the highest caliber. And it's important to do that, especially when you have the responsibility of caring for someone else's energy in the time that you have together.
Absolutely. I always tell my students, if you're truly connecting, it would be impossible to judge.
Yeah.
Because you're really just sharing that space with them.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And, and it really, I'll tell you, it is very, there's a beautiful feeling with empowering another person. It really is, beautiful sense of reward to help someone see that, they're worth more than what they're giving themselves credit for, or that they have more choices than they're aware of in the moment. A lot of times, I'm sure we've all been through it, is when you are in such a cloud of not knowing that next step, right? Oh, what do I do? It is hard to see that. It's hard to have that clarity. So, when you have just someone there to just kind of help with that, I think it definitely can be a very positive experience.
Absolutely. What if your client is really acting irrational, not acting so nicely? Do you get to point that out to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think in what way would you in what way would you mean, just so
Oh, well, if they're
like,
seeking guidance, and they're not acting very kindly, if they're, stuck in with their ego and, need to sort
oh,
of make some changes. Are you able to
yes.
point that out?
Right. So normally, it depends. So normally, right, my goal is to tune into the soul of the sitter. Where are they at this point? What are they kind of experiencing at this point? And you can usually tell if you do that, you could tell where the door is shut sometimes. And so if I'm going to be abrupt and try to knock that door down, it's not going to go anywhere. They're not going to be
Right.
open to the experience. So, in order to connect or touch with them, I have to kind of lean into what their soul can handle and talk to them in that particular way. Now, if they're being rude to me, then I would just stop the session. I mean, I don't have to, I'm not in this,
Oh,
I'm
right,
not in
right.
there.
No,
I
I
want to
just mean some of
enjoy the
us
work.
redirection.
Sometimes, well, what I try to, let's say someone is so set on someone that we can see is not going to show up for them, is not going to come back in that relationship, right? We can tell, yet this person's been hanging on, in hopes that, and five other psychics told them that they're coming back, and so that it's their soulmate, and to wait it out. I'll absolutely be like, look, let's look at it this way. Would you really want someone that abandoned you over this particular situation? Is that the kind of life partner you really want in your life? Does that feel healthy for you? And that just starts to open up them seeing, like, well, no, actually, I don't. Okay, so when we start to know what you do want and focusing on that, we can start to let go what is not going to fulfill you in a long-term relationship.
I love that. I mean, not that I've ever been in that position, but being hung up on someone that's not good. Um, no, but that makes a lot of sense, and I would never say no, someone is not good, maybe just not a good match for us at that point. And
Not
I
in
think that's
alignment is a yeah,
yeah,
not in alignment, right? Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, Jennifer, did you want to add anything to that?
Excuse me, thank you. I had a reading not too long ago because I think this speaks to what you're saying is like what happens if you feel like there's something about them that they kind of need to change but maybe don't want to too. And it was very beautiful the way that spirit sort of symbolically kind of took us step by step because it was a young male who really needed to kind of step into his own manhood in order to get what he wanted. So it was like he was the one who needed to change, but they just very graciously and symbolically kind of took us step by step to get there. So by the time it ended, I think he did get the message that there was a journey for him to go on in order to get what he wanted out of life, which also included relationships too. So I was very impressed with how how that happened
Yeah.
too, and it depends. I mean, I suppose some spirit helpers could kind of come in a way that's very, very direct and say it straight say it straight, straight
Mhm.
shooter, but with love too. Like that could happen
Yeah.
too. So yeah. So how do you navigate those kind of situations? So that's
I think
hard. When we're scared, when we're scared and when we're in defense mechanism and feeling unsafe, that's when people have a hard time accepting change, accepting that they may need to change or there's something that they could do different and like pull it back off the energy off of the external and back into the internal. So creating a safe space, making them feel seen and heard and understood and loved can, I think, help drop the defenses, and then they can accept some intuitive wisdom that might be more beneficial for them in the future. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
No, that sounds great. And like you said, it's all about feeling accepted and validated.
It helps. It helps. It's both. We
Mhm.
have to do the work for ourselves, but it's so nice when we're loving each other too.
I think it's still okay to feel hurt, to feel mad, to get, upset.
Yeah.
Eat your Ben and Jerry's, like we spoke about before, but pick ourselves up again. Speaking about picking ourselves up, I'd love to hear all of your best advice for that when we're down and out, because it's all about how do we get through this life, and hopefully with love and as much laughter and fun as we can add to it. Colby, what's your take on that? What's your best advice?
My best advice is to trust spirit, trust the universe. I just ultimately have so much faith in spirit and the universe that if someone is removed from my life, I trust that it is for my highest good ultimately. And that really helps process any, ego emotions I may be experiencing around it. If an opportunity doesn't work out, no matter how much I wanted to strong arm it, I also trust the universe or spirit must know something I may not know in this particular moment. And again, that really, I feel like just trusting the team, right? You got to trust the team. And when you do that, I really feel like you go, okay. And to be optimistic. So many people want to lead their lives with pessimism. And I think when we are more optimistic, it really can help elevate your mood, your understanding, your own objectivity.
I love that. Colin, give it to us.
This is amazing section, isn't it? This is, and these are absolutely stunning words to encourage everybody. Particularly, I want to say, if I can, what you were saying earlier, Colby, you made three main points from me, which was when you're given a message, it's not making the decision for the recipient. They're making it, but you're giving them the choices. It's like, and I've always agreed, when spirit comes through, they will give the options to us, but we have to choose it, because that's our karma. And it's also our karma if we think we can make decisions for somebody else's journey. We're creating negative aspect for our own karma in the future. We've got to be very careful, because karma plays a role in every moment.
Yeah.
So that was a good point. And then the non-judgmental, the judgmental aspect, which you referred to, is like removing ourselves from the message and the circumstances, everything. We've got to abide in that space of neutrality within us, and discernment and detachment as the information flows through us. My biggest thing is to elevate the mind as high as the mind and awareness can possibly reach, and those purest vibrations of spirit, what we can attain, and hand it over to spirit. Let spirit just do what they need to do. They know what they're doing a lot more than what we are. We're surrounded by these different planes of energies, which blocks our view and our perception and the expanse of our awareness, which makes it limited. Spirit don't have that, because they're in the vastness, infinite space of light, and they've got great phenomenal clarity. So for me, the mission is to feel the joy in every moment we can, whoever's on the journey or the path. First thing and foremost is to feel the joy and the love of spirit at all times, during the messages, during the training, during the development, everything, doesn't matter. The stumbling, the falling, the mistakes, the failings, switch off to them. They're irrelevant. Okay, they're just mini obstacles what would block your development. Attain that highest frequency of your own awareness. Tap into spirit and just let them guide you. That's one of the purest things we can do for me. Relationship-wise, we're talking our relationship with the spirit world and celestial cosmic beings. Now we're bringing cosmic beings into play. Previously, for many years, it was spiritual beings. The cosmic aspect was just placed to this little pocket to one side. Now them two are joining collectively together and going, okay, guys, now we're all coming towards you. Take your pick, get to us, let us lead you, and the magic happens. It's phenomenal. Get rid of these lower densities of the ego, dissolve the ego completely for me. Get rid of it because it's in the way every step of the way. Dissolve your ego. You can argue and debate whether there should be one or not. From my opinion, dissolve it. Because it's the one thing what blocks the beauty of the light of spirit and those beautiful beings from those higher dimensions. And I'm gonna be quiet at this point. I'm not saying no more. This is a beautiful conversation.
Colby, before you go, I wanted to remind everyone to check out the magazine. You have a wonderful chat that we put in there. You talk about your own relationship, finding love, which was beautiful and both hopeful. I love the story. You even got a message from Spirit telling you that you would be meeting your husband. So if you haven't heard that story, definitely check out the magazine. I happen to think it's awesome. And,
I had a great interviewer.
No, it was great. I appreciate you being part of it.
Thank you. And I just what I always tell my clients and for our friends listening today, FedEx and UPS are not delivering your soulmate at the door. So put yourself out there, get out there, and be active in your journey.
That's so
I love
funny.
that, Colby.
If I pay extra shipping, will they?
Yeah, no, definitely not. Not even overnight express.
Priority.
Yeah, no.
That was great.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
so funny.
Thank you guys for having me. I
Colby.
really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Lovely
Thank
meeting
you.
you,
Bye,
Colby.
everyone.
Lots of love, Colby.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Lots of
you.
love.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so
Great stuff.
much.
Bye-bye.
Oh, she's
So-
lovely.
Yeah, that was awesome. I think we have a few more people that are going to join us. Lynn is here, but she's sorting out her device. Put in an Amazon order. I love it. If you have any questions, certainly put them in the chat.
I think there's some in the chat, Laurie.
Oh,
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah,
if you see
Can
one,
I quickly
certainly.
pick up on one? Is it okay for me to, because somebody mentioned one earlier and I thought it was really nice what they said. If I could just, is
Absolutely.
that okay? But I just need to find it again. Sorry, bear with me. Where is it? I'm just scanning back through the. There you go. It was Ascending Universal Booklet. Love is so pure and freeing, not conditional.
Mm.
And to be honest, that's for me, that's very close to summing love up. It's without any condition. So it's just, love just is. We're it.
Right.
And I think once we attain that frequency or that awareness, again, within us, and everybody does the same, and where everybody just is love. It sounds euphoric, I know, but this is where we're going. All the indicators are there. So the quicker we do it for ourselves and do it with for each other. It's a beautiful point, I think, Ascending.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Butterfly. Let's call it butterfly.
I want to go back for a moment. We were talking before about clients and what we Veronica, what we can offer, what we can offer clients in a reading and things like that. I actually have an article in the magazine about that. I had one of my clients write about what it's been like to navigate life with a psychic, and she's been a client for about 6 years now. And it was really interesting to hear her perspective. And one of the things she said is she doesn't tell me what to do. She just gives me an awareness and kind of helps me decide what I want to do. And there was actually a part in there about a health scare that I picked up on, and she went to the doctor, got it sorted out, and it was interesting just to, like I said, just to hear from the other person's perspective. And yes, we can point things out. Yes, we are able to tune into things that you are meant to know.
I think that's a beautiful read, that one, Laurie. I really like that in the magazine.
Yeah.
That's a very, there's something quite poignant about that one.
And just the pointing out thing, she also talks about a breakup she went through. And she was devastated. I mean, I was worried about her. I remember talking to her then, and I just pointed out something like she was counting on her partner for that validation, but the validation of just being her. And once she realized it, she was able to shift it. And we can't see our own stuff when we're stuck in the middle of it. Veronica, welcome. How are you?
Hi, Veronica.
I'm good, thanks. I'm just catching up on all the comments. So, hi, Patrick.
Oh, okay. I believe you were talking about some self-love in your article. Is that right?
Absolutely.
And the mirror.
Well, it's self-awareness. And obviously that love vibration is key within that self-awareness as well. Mm-hmm. So it's awakening to self, to God, and your connection to the universe.
Right. Hi, Stacy.
Hi, Lori. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining
us. Hi, Stacy.
Hi, I've never met any of you. This is such a treat. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Veronica, I want to hear more about that. Self-awareness. How can that help us in relationships?
If we're not aware of who we are and have a sense of what we need as individuals on our human journey, then how can we have a relationship with somebody else? And we fully know and understand that, because you're always going to be ending up in situations that are going to clash and going to cause problems, etc. If you can understand your own triggers, you can understand your own limitations, your own belief systems, your own whatever it is, then when you're in that relationship, you can reflect on any issues that come up, because it's a relationship, there will be issues that come up, and you can understand where those issues are coming from. I was interested in Rachel Maddox's comment, can you give some guidance on when you've been married for 25 years plus, when you have different spiritual views? I've been married for 28 years, and for all of that time I've been a spiritualist medium, and my husband has no belief in God at all. So
wow.
So there's a very different, but I'm very much recognizing that I am on a human journey, and I've got experiences as a human that I need to go through. And as part of that is the joys, the love, pleasures, the absolute tearing your hair out that comes with marriage. But you center yourself back into who you are, who your essence is, and that you are learning on that journey, and you can separate from that human nature as such and go into that spiritual being and find a peace in that, and recognize the lessons and learnings that you've got to come from it.
Now that's interesting. You shared about your husband. Does he respect your views, or do you ever argue about it?
Oh, we never argue about it. No, we've never done. Well, he knew right from the beginning of the relationship, of my views, etc. And I've never pushed it on him or anybody else. You know, my views are my views, and I don't convince anybody else.
As long as there's that respect, right?
Yeah, so that's fine.
many years ago.
Sorry, go on.
Many years ago, I had gone on a date and I thought it was amazing. You know, one of those like, oh, this is great. And at the end, it came up that I was a medium, and he walked out that door so quickly. I remember hearing a story about someone that went to the restroom during dinner and never came back. I don't know if they climbed out a window or how they got out of that place. But you know, those stories could be funny, but it comes all back to acceptance, right? And knowing who we are. Like, this is me, and I can accept you.
Absolutely.
And with that works.
And with that comes an acceptance. If you don't like what I am, who I am, what I'm doing, you have every right to that. And that's fine. We are on different journeys. I just have to accept in my life, if you've gone out solar wind, good luck. Yeah.
Right. Right.
I'm not going to worry about it. That's your choice. You don't know me. You don't understand me. You don't have anything to do with my spiritual path other than to confirm to me, actually, I'm on the right one for me. And I don't want anybody like you in my life. Bye.
And that goes back to knowing who we are, which is what you wrote about.
Yes. Absolutely.
If we know who we are to begin with, then
it gives you a confidence.
Those won't be so brutal.
Yeah.
I'm happy to share my experience because I'm married 36 years and I didn't become a medium. Mediumship came to me later in life. So I was married a good 20 something year. I mean, I was a Catholic. I was raised Catholic, and not that I was a practicing Catholic, but I got married in the church. I raised my children Catholic, but this began to happen to me probably 20 something years into my marriage. And so that created a whole level of change for my husband and I. Fortunately, you know, and I agree with you, Veronica, you know, you have to get to a place where this is who I am and you have to accept who you am. And fortunately, my husband has accepted who I am. And we've been able to continue on, you know, our marriage, but it wasn't who I was at the beginning. So that's a different perspective, you know, like it's had its challenges, definitely. Right. But I agree with you, you know, we are who we are and we have to step into who we are fully. And it's going to be okay for some and not for others. And that's okay.
Right.
You don't have to stay true to who you are. I don't see how you can not to really step fully into your mediumship.
Yeah. Which kind of leads me to sort of the same thing. So many people talk about my partner changed or I changed and they didn't. Yes. So whether we're talking about one person being a medium or just one person taking up maybe new interests or wanting a different career.
Or just different stages of your life.
Yeah. Does anyone have any advice? Stacey, I'll start with you on just dealing with that when one changes and the other one.
Certainly as a woman who moves into their years of life, they've raised their children, they've sort of raised their husband too. We could say that teasingly. But, you know, you get to a point where you've taken care of everybody else. And now you get, and I don't think it's universal to me. I think it's universal to women in general. You get to a certain age where it's like, okay, now it's about me. And that can you know, have its own, you know, consequences in terms of marriage, relationships, and all that kind of thing. You know, like I've done it all now. Now it's my turn.
Right.
I think it's sort of a universal thing for women who are aging, you know, past their raising their children and all of that. You know, I think it's something somewhat universal. And it comes up in a lot of my readings, especially psychic with women.
Right.
You know,
interesting.
They're tired, they're weary, and they want to find their joy, their purpose now. In it from like, what am I going to do for me now? And they have to find their way. It could be challenging for many. I
can't help but are anyone else aware of that the new movement, the We Do Not Care Club?
Wow.
No, it's this big thing on Facebook. And it sounds like a joke, but it's actually pretty interesting. It's talking about women going through perimenopause and menopause, which is a huge change, you know. So yeah, that's just makes me think about that. Children, having children, not having children, all of those things.
Yeah.
I think challenge us to be flexible, right, in a relationship and accepting. So I'm going to put a little bit of another spin on this without getting political at all. We can say that.
Come on, let's get political.
The world is tough, right? We're all hurting. We're going through a really difficult time for many different reasons. So if you had to, any of you, give one word to help us through it, would you say acceptance? Accepting each other, love, spreading love? Stacey, I'll start with you.
You mean in terms of each other or in terms of the climate that we're living in?
Well, I guess how we deal with each other going through such crazy times.
I think with gentleness and consideration. There's so many different perspectives out there. Like even within my own home, there's a lot of different perspectives here. So you really have to just be, and I think setting boundaries when it gets too much. But, you know, acceptance and tolerance of different points of view. I think it's really important, and it's really lacking right now. Everybody thinks they're right.
Yes.
You know, and there's, you know, there can be gray. Can't there be gray?
I think I said in one of the interviews, the only person I disagree with is the person who thinks they are right all the time.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah. Veronica, what's your words of wisdom?
I think it goes back again to that differentiation between a human journey and a spiritual journey, because on our spiritual journey, where our essence of eternity is sort of bound in this human being, we are on that learning experience, we're being tested on that learning experience, we're being challenged on that, and for that journey to be of value, there has to be conflict, there has to be differences, there has to be us putting ourselves in a situation where we can experience difference, or else if we're just in a state of happiness all the time, what purpose, what development, what, you know, growth are we there? Now, obviously, being on a human journey, we have so many challenges coming into that to be able to fulfill the purpose of our higher self. And so it's going into each and every one of those situations and recognizing this is part of my spiritual journey, to understand and to recognize that everybody is on their own individual journey, and it's not mine. And they have a right to those views because that is important for their journey. And for me to help other people on their journey is allowing them to have those views. Maybe human part of me and my ego gets in the way at times, and I'll have a good arm.
Yeah.
Because there's a sense of enjoyment in that at times.
Right.
But that's the human side of me, and that's the ego side of me. If I need to be right, then that's ego. That is human me. The spiritual me is, you're on your journey, I'm on mine. I respect your views. I respect that you need to go through the experiences that you are living at this time for your eternal spirit, your essence. You know, you've come on this human journey, all that purpose. So I'm going to support you with that and let you be with that.
Yeah, I love that. You said there has to be challenges. So if there is a challenge, if there's a disagreement, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
Not
it is
at all.
Part of life, right?
Yeah, the danger comes, as Stacey said, when you always think you're right, because at that point you're not looking at a challenge in terms of can I learn, you're looking at a challenge in terms of you damaging my ego and I don't like this, and the challenge becomes very negative experience. And you will find people that their experience of life is very repetitive because their higher self is consistently putting themselves in that same situation again and again and again, because they've yet to learn that experience. They have yet to learn what impact that has on their essence, their soul, their development. As long as you are caught in the ego, you are hurting me and I don't like that, you're not learning. You're on the human level, you're not on the spiritual level.
Right. I like that.
Makes complete sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes me kind of just sit back and want to ponder all of this.
Well, when you talk on being on the hamster wheel, people are going round and round and round doing the same behaviors and expecting different results. But they're really being, thrust into situations that are trying to get them to whatever it is the lesson is for them, to get them to sort of click in some way for them and to make some change.
Absolutely.
Or evolve.
I've been known to kind of shout out to the universe, okay, I got it. I got that message. I don't need this lesson anymore. Give me new ones because I just want to get through them.
I know.
I don't want to come back and do it.
It's really interesting you say that, Laurie, because I was at a spiritualist church in the northeast of England last week, and the philosophy I had was, yes, these lessons learned, like any educator, I had teached 20 years, you test people, don't you? So yes, you can say, I've learned that, don't put me through it again, but the universe comes in and tests you. Have you really learned it? And are you going to react differently? And if you don't react differently and repeat it, then you're caught back in that wheel again. So watch out for the tests. But those are the real challenges, because only then can you move on.
That's
absolutely fun. So I guess we're coming down to the end. I love leaving on positive notes, regardless of what the topic is in the magazine. We are here to spread healing, love, acceptance. So I'm going to ask all of you to share anything you would like that would be uplifting for everyone watching that's just trying to get through it. And whoever wants to go first, go for it.
I'm happy to say something. I would just be gentle. Be gentle with yourself.
I like that.
Often we're so great with people. We're so great in our relationships, and we don't give ourselves the same grace. So just be gentle with yourself. Give yourself compassion and love, and treat yourself as you treat your best friend. Because oftentimes we're critical, or we don't think we're doing enough, or whatever it is that rolls around in your mind, the chatter that you have. But just give yourself some grace and some compassion and some self-love.
I think I love that. And I think I'm going to kind of jump on that and say, remember that nothing stays the same. Every single moment is an opportunity for change, for growth, for acceptance. So if you're stuck in a moment that makes you feel like you're just running through mud, know that there's always hope. And I think one of the magical things about being a psychic is we're able to see that hope. We're able to see ahead and know that things can get better and can change. Colin, you look like you're in deep thought. Did I just give you some good advice?
Well, I've got spirit present, putting different thoughts in, waiting for whatever moment And
Go,
there was a
go
moment,
for it.
there was a moment, short while ago, and the likened this, that when you was referring to the moment we're in, and it's like we've put a diving suit on the physical body, and there's lead weights on it of varying weights and gravity. So we've all dived into this abyss, what we can say, we're in a psychic abyss, and we're transformers. The soul is a transformer, so it's transforming the energy within that abyss, at various depths, so to speak. For all of us, this is how I liken it. And it's so important to stay in our lane, mind our own business in other people's affairs. Yeah. Stop this ridiculous being involved in dramas. And I know it sounds quite harsh, but be very mindful of all things what we possibly can, and the role we play, because we're at a point now where we're moving away from the thought and the feeling to a moment of action in the world, because action is the main, that's got a link to the other two. And make your actions one of love and compassion and joy and inspiration and hope for everyone you meet. And it doesn't mean to back off and be defeatist. Everybody's got the right to defend their space, because we're sovereign beings. And if somebody steps into our space, you have the right to defend it in whatever appropriate form you feel in that moment. But most importantly, to really grasp this concept that we're celestial transformers, each one of us. Doesn't matter how we put these details to it. As I don't want to say an author, but as somebody who has studied all this for so long and contemplated it to a certain depth, because the shallow stuff is no good to me, because we're trying to find out where we are in evolution, all of us. Because if we don't come together, which I don't even want to go to the next step, we will come together. This is a process of coming together, and the wider the division, in effect, it indicates we're actually getting closer to one another, because that sense of duality will dissolve into that singularity of oneness, and that's the role we play. That's just a simple role we play. All the rest is details. Just be at peace and have a happy heart and happy mind.
Right. Thank you. Jennifer.
You want me to go after Colin?
Sometimes
you're very capable of doing that, Jennifer. Very.
All right.
Sometimes it's one word we need to hear, you know?
I know. This psychic abyss it's very dark night of the soul, and I'm watching all the separation, and I did understand, don't get pulled into it, because a lot of people are getting like pulled into it. And so that fiery energy you can use towards creation. Now, I was very blessed. My friends and I were working on a charity event. So all of that energy that we were also perceiving in the collective and maybe going on within ourselves, we channeled into positivity and had a lot of fun doing it, and we're helping people. So we can make a shift in how we want to use our energy and in going into self-empowerment. So we've talked about self-analysis. We've talked about knowing yourself. We've talked about all of this stuff. And by going within, and then, there's a time to look out, and then there's a time to look in. And I feel like it's a combination of both. I have my very direct approach, which says what you run from will chase you, and it will. If you run away from yourself will keep chasing you until you turn back in. And that's where we keep repeating all of those patterns and all of that. And so if we're willing to look in and do that, that's where we come to the goal. That's where we go through that deep, that deep ocean or that psychic abyss, and then come back to self, come home to self, because you've made the journey and you've taken the courage to do all of that work. If I were to just put all of that in a ball and give it one word, I would just say grace, just grace. We can embody that. You seem to be able to walk through life okay. and more than okay, because it's just, you're like, you know that you can handle anything. It doesn't mean it's not going to hurt, but it's a beautiful essence and an energy to embody and understand is also supporting you. So it's within and without. And when the two come together in a beautiful, magnificent way, I do believe we can navigate the rough waters of life with much more smoothness too. So that would be my word for today.
I love that, Grace. Thank you. And Veronica.
I think it's reflecting about the article that I wrote about the mirror, that you have to be the world you want it to be. So if you want the world to be of kindness, of love, it starts with you. If you want the world to be of peace, it starts with you. If you want to be the world where magic happens, it starts with you. Nowhere else. It's nobody else's responsibility. The world is what you create it.
I like that. Very great words to live by and take in. Very thought-provoking. So go to edifyyoursoulmagazine.com. There are 4 issues out already. This is the 5th. There's amazing articles, amazing videos. And certainly check out the ones before this. Some of the mediums are giving away some readings. So what you have to do for that is share the magazine on your page, tag one of us, tag Edify Your Soul Magazine, tag me, and some lucky winners will be picked out. And I just want to thank you all. And there's many more contributors that are not on this live. But thanks to everyone. Thanks to you all. And I will see you all soon, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lori. Honored to be a part of your magazine. Thank you.
I am
Thank you,
love to
Lori.
all of you.
Hi, everyone.
Group hug.
Thank you to everybody for joining us live on Facebook and YouTube, etc. And Laurie, if I may say, you've done amazing with this magazine. It's absolutely beautiful.
It is.
Thank you.
really
It's extraordinary. Yeah,
I
it's
love
extraordinary.
bringing everyone together.
Yes.
It's been great.
You've done great. Don't call me, I'll call you.
And thank you, Colin, for all your help.
Amazing.
So
And
Lynn,
thank you to
Lynn
Ava
Boyd
behind
tried
the
getting
scenes.
on. She was having some internet trouble. She was huge help as well. Very grateful to all of you. So
Thank
be
you so
well.
much for having me.
Bye, guys.